The TRD Bug Fly. Grab a size 1 Mustad jig hook and place it in the jaws of your vise. After that, load a bobbin with black flat wax nylon Danville's 210 Denier. Start your thread behind the bend and wrap down. Then end with your thread about an 1/8 inch away from the bend. Now go to some lead eyes, medium. Start by making cross wraps and then do figure 8 wraps to secure them on top of the hook shank. Then do a couple wraps above the hook shank but below the eyes to lock your thread wraps in place. Now go to some strung olive brown Marabou quills. Get one feather and measure your tail about 1 hook shank in length. Transfer that measurement to the bend of the hook and then cut the excess of the feather off. Tie it in right behind the eyes and wrap back down. Now go to some Grizzly microlapes here in olive. Get about 3 or 4. Fold those over your thread right behind the eye and wrap back down, keeping them on top of the hook. Now go to your other Marabou feather and do the same as before. Now go to some Litchen guard hair Chenille. Tie in the tip behind the eyes and wrap down. Make sure it's secure, and then here's the tricky part. Take your thread away past the bend of the hook and start making wraps towards the tips of the feathers. After about a couple wraps, extending about a 1/4 inch away from the bend, go ahead and bring your thread back onto the hook shank and start wrapping the chenille over your thread wraps. It may help to cut it off the cardstock. About 3 or 4 wraps, you'll reach the hook shank again. Then take 1 or 2 more wraps, bring your thread back, and tie it off. But do not cut the rest of the chenille off at this point. Now go to some hen hackle, here in olive. Get 2 feathers and align them. Measure a claw that's about a hook shank in length and strip the fuzzies off, and tie it on the far side of the hook with the concave facing towards yourself. Then do the same thing to the other side with the concave facing away from you. You can cut the butts off. Now go back to your Grizzly microlapes, but this time get 8 or 10. Tie them in the same fashion, but this time bring them to either end of the fly. Pull them up and cut them just beyond the tips of the feathers, the hen hackle feathers. And at this point you can cut the other rubber legs that we tied in before right by the Marabou. Now go to some brassy ultra wire, tie it on the far side and then bring it to the near side to secure it. Grab your chenille, and without trapping any of the rubber legs or feathers, go ahead and start making touching wraps, making sure you pull the material back as you wrap up the fly. Once you reach the eye, you can do 1 or 2 wraps through the lead eyes to kind of cover any exposed thread wraps, and then tie that off. And then now you can cut the rest of the chenille off. Now go to some olive molted thin skin, mottled olive thin skin, and cut a section that's about 1.5 inches in length and 1/4 inch in width. And then one side, kind of cut a triangle notch in it, and then peel it off the paper backing. Align the notch with the point of the hook, and tie it down right behind the eyes. And then kind of fold the little tag end over and tie it down, so it just hits the butt of the 90-degree bend, and you can cut the excess off. Now take your wire and keeping the thin skin on top of the fly. It helps to invert your fly on your vise if you can. Start making open spiral wraps through the body of the fly, segmenting the shell and the fly. Then once you reach your thread, which should be behind the dumbbell eyes, you can go ahead and helicopter the wire off and finish your thread. After that, the fly is finished.